The moon hung high, full and silver, casting a soft glow across the world below. Its light spread across the ground, soft and silver, making everything look calm and quiet. The air was cold and sharp, brushing against the skin like a warning, but not enough to chase anyone away. Under that gentle moonlight, two males stood side by side, one with nothing but coldness in his eyes, while other with a pool of hope in his eyes. They didn't speak. They didn't move, just stood there, close but quiet, like the night had frozen time just for them. The silence was broken by a shattered glass. His hand bled as he gripped the broken pieces of glass. Leave, from here. He had nothing other than coldness. I won't, he too fired back. He snapped and grabbed Jimin by his neck. You have one last chance, he growled, his voice low and thick with warning. Leave this place before I throw you off myself. Jimin's breath hitched, not from fear, but fury. His hands didn't rise to struggle. Instead, he looked right into Yoongi's eyes. Then do it, he said, voice soft but trembling. Go ahead, Alpha. His lips curled into something bitter, something brave. Yoongi's eyes narrowed, but the Omega didn't tremble. Instead, he leaned closer, almost daring him. Push me, he whispered, the wind lifting strands of his hair. It will be my honor to die by your hand. Yoongi's jaw clenched, while his eyes darkened. He pressed his body closer to Jimin, which made Jimin take a step back. A gasp left his mouth as his body tilted over the railing. He gasped to take a breath. His eyes teared up because of the tight grip on his neck. Yoongi lunged forward, seizing his wrist, yanking Jimin back before the Omega could actually fall. I hate to repeat myself, Park Jimin. He rolled his tongue inside his mouth. But Jimin wasn't listening. Instead, he loosened the top of his shirt, tugging the collar down, revealing a glowing, intimate mark on the side of his neck, one that didn't belong to anyone else but Yoongi. You are wrong, Alpha. It's Min Jimin. I'm yours. You marked me. He said each word slowly with pauses. This mark means nothing to me, he said blandly, not knowing how those words were killing Jimin. It was a mistake, he snapped, stepping away from him, tone suddenly growing colder with each word. His breath caught. A mistake? He whispered. Was it a mistake to touch me? To say I belong to you? He smirked. How naive you are. Don't you know an alpha in heat can do anything to get their desire calmed down? You just used me? I will do it again. His eyes met Jimin's hopeful eyes. And you don't fit as my Omega. Maybe my mistress. The whole room went silent. Jimin's eyes glossed over, lips parted like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. And then, without another word, he turned around. His fingers brushed the mark on his neck. His chest ached in a place deeper than bone. He felt his chest tearing apart, and the pain was beyond what he could imagine. He wanted to scream. He wanted to say so many things, but didn't say anything. Instead, a small chuckle left his mouth. Across the campus, the air was thick with tension. The training hall, filled with alpha trainees, both male and female, was gripped by something wild. The scent hit first, sweet, sharp, dizzying. Then came the heat, crawling under their skin, dragging instinct to the surface. Alphas gasped and stumbled, their hands shaking, sweat pouring down their temples. Something was wrong. The scent was too much. Too sweet. Too consuming. The headmaster stormed in, his eyes blazing with rage and unease. Headmaster, what is this? He barked, voice booming. Who brought an Omega into this campus? The headmaster's voice thundered through the chaos. He was livid, eyes darting around at the trembling forms of young alphas, some barely able to stand. His eyes darkened. Omegas are forbidden in this campus. Who is responsible? No one answered. Only groans filled the air as the scent grew thicker, more unbearable. From the far corner, a young boy with shaky hand pointed toward two unmoved figures, standing calm amid the chaos. It's them. He looked at them with hate in his eyes. Jungkook and Namjin. They brought an Omega here. That's why they're not affected. He accused both the boys. He too came forward. They're hiding something, he added. They've been acting weird since morning. He turned to the brothers. Well, speak. Why would we be affected? His lips curled into a faint smirk. He crossed his arms. Royal blood doesn't fall apart over a whiff of heat. With each word, his voice grew colder. His eyes darkened. Unlike some of you,
We don't respond to just any Omega, only to our bonded ones. Their calmness shut the room down instantly. It was known. Royal Alphas had stronger control, their instincts bound to power, lineage, and fate. But still, they wasn't done. Then where's your Royal Alpha, huh? Where is he? He asked calmly. Heads turned. Eyes searched for one person, but there was no trace of him. Yoongi's absence wasn't unusual, but it was timely. Suspicious. Everyone started to whisper. He's under punishment, he said while eyeing both the men accusing his brother. You remember why, don't you? Gosh, only he knows how badly he wants to rip them apart. He beat the shit out of your gang last week. He smirked. You cried, if I recall. Oh, please. I am damn sure he ain't serving any punishment. I haven't seen him in the ground. His breath grew heavy. Or maybe he's just out fucking some ohm. I dare you. His cold voice echoed through the hall. The doors flew open. Yoongi entered, black cloak billowing, eyes sharp enough to pierce steel. His voice was low but deadly, and suddenly, no one remembered how to speak. I guess you really like to get beat, he said, stepping closer to Jungbei. Keep running your mouth and see. Enough, he shouted, stepping between them. This is not the time for petty fights. We need to cleanse the air. He turned to Namjin and Jungkook. Give everyone healing herbs. Now. Yes, headmaster. He gave a quick nod and looked at Jungkook. Both Namjoon and Jungkook looked at each other, saying something with their eyes which no one understood other than both of them. They smirked and started doing as the headmaster said, while Yoongi's eyes remained locked on Jungbei, a silent threat. And then he turned and left, cloak sweeping behind him like a blade. Jungkook and Namjoon moved through the hall, handing out bundles of dried herbs soaked in calming properties. The scent helped, slightly easing the tension. But when they reached Jungbei and Yoonmin, Jungkook's expression shifted. He gave a smile, a little too sweet. Special mix, just for you guys. They bit down on the leaves without question. Within seconds, their bodies tensed and twisted with pain. Water formed in their eyes while their eyes widened. What the hell? He screamed, clutching his chest. Rut herbs, he whispered, for newly mated pairs. Hope you enjoy your fake honeymoon. The two collapsed, writhing and moaning as the herbs lit up their unmated instincts, making the unfulfilled bond ache like fire, while Jungkook and Namjoon stood over them, smirking quietly. Remember this next time. Learn to keep our names out of your mouths, he said. Or maybe we'll make you guys cry louder, he smirked. Both the brothers chuckled, watching the chaos like it was nothing more than justice in motion. The door creaked open slowly. Jin stepped inside with a sigh, his gaze looking at the chaotic room. Toys scattered across the floor, pillows tossed, books fallen from the shelves, a colorful mess only one little boy could create. Jin's shoulders dropped. The room looked nothing like the way he'd left it, and definitely not the way he liked it. He stepped further in, his bare feet brushing a toy truck. A soft sigh escaped his lips again. This was his room, but sometimes it didn't feel like it anymore. His eyes found the small figure on the bed, tucked under the blanket with only a mop of dark hair peeking out. Jin chuckled under his breath and moved closer. He sat on the edge of the bed, the mattress dipping slightly beneath him. Are you sleeping? He tilted his head as he got no response. If you're really asleep, then raise your hand, smiled to himself. A tiny hand immediately shot up into the air, still with eyes closed tightly, trying so hard to stay in character. Jin broke into laughter. He reached down and tickled the little boy's side. The child squealed and twisted, laughter bursting from his lips as he tried to escape the tickles. Mama, he giggled, launching into Jin's arms and hugging him tightly. How did you know I wasn't sleeping? He ruffled his son's hair with a soft smile. Because mothers always know. But then his expression turned into a frown as he glanced around the room. What is all this, Junie? He looked at his son with dun face. He pouted immediately, his big doe eyes widening. I didn't mean to, Mama. I was just playing with Tatey and Binny. You call this playing? He raised an eyebrow, crossing his arms. Those two brats are spoiling you. The little alpha stuck his lower lip out, hands clutched to his chest. Sowie, he mumbled. Don't be angry, please. That's it. Those big doe eyes and that cute pout melted Jin in a second. He groaned and shook his head. This boy always guilt trips me, he muttered, ruffling Junie's hair again. All right, but next time you're cleaning it. Junie giggled as Jin began to tidy up. Jin, being the clean freak he was, couldn't stand the sight of mess. Every piece had to be put back where it belonged. Blocks stacked neatly, soft toys aligned on the shelf, books back on the stand. Jin was meticulous. Cleanliness was his peace, his escape. But ever since Junie had come into his life, that peace had become a battlefield. Junie followed him everywhere. If Jin cleaned a shelf, Junie would pull the books back out. If he folded clothes, Junie would leap into the basket and mess them again. Chaos was his playmate. The room would be spotless in the morning, and a jungle by night. It was exhausting, frustrating, and somehow the most precious part of Jin's life. If anyone else dared to ruin his order, Jin would have snapped. But in front of his little boy, he was, is, and always will be helpless. When everything was finally neat again, Jin sat back beside his baby. Now time to sleep, baby. He shook his head stubbornly. I'm hungry. He blinked his eyes. Didn't Hobie feed you earlier? He did, he said innocently. But I want Bobo. The smile dropped from his face. Junie, you never give Bobo anymore, he whispered, eyes dropping. It's been so long. Do you not love me anymore? Jin's heart cracked. Am I a bad boy? He looked at Jin with sad pout. I promise I'll be good. I'll keep the room clean. I won't make a mess again. Tears pricked Jin's eyes. Each word from his son was a knife to his soul. No, baby, he whispered. You're not a bad boy. You're the best boy in the world. Jin pulled his son into his arms and held him close. He didn't deserve to be questioned like this. Not by the one person who made his world worth living. Slowly, with trembling hands, Jin pulled a string of his top. Junie's eyes sparkled. He cuddled in closer and began to nurse, soft and content. His small hand rested on Jin's chest, warm and trusting. Jin closed his eyes. Then came the pain. The sharp sting shot through him instantly, like fire crawling beneath his skin. His back arched slightly, breath catching in his throat. It burned. It always burned. A whimper slipped from his lips, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. His heart couldn't stop his son. While Jin was shaking in sharp pain, Junie sighed in relief, slowly falling asleep in the comfort of Jin's arms. The warmth of their bond was too beautiful to break, even as Jin's fingers dug into the sheets, even as tears rolled down his cheeks. Then a knock at the door. Hyung, are you inside? He knocked. Jin couldn't respond. His voice wouldn't come. The pain was too much for him to even let out a whisper. Hyung, I'm coming in. The door creaked open, and Job stepped inside, only to freeze. A gasp left his mouth when his eyes landed on Jin's trembling frame. Holding the now sleeping child, Jin's shoulders shook violently, lips pressed tight in pain, skin pale and damp with sweat. Hyung! He rushed forward, carefully lifting Junie from Jin's arms. He stirred at the loss of warmth, whining softly, Mama. It's okay, Baba, he whispered, cradling him, rocking gently. Mama's okay. Sleep, baby. Jin, still shaking, stumbled to his feet and rushed to the washroom. His body screamed in pain. He shut the door behind him and hurriedly turned the cold water on full. The moment he turned on the cold water, he collapsed to the floor of the shower. The icy spray hit his burning skin like needles, but it was the only thing that helped. He sat there, eyes shut. Tears streamed down his face, mixing with the water, lips trembling. After some time, the pain numbed, just enough to breathe again. Jin turned off the shower. He stepped out, dried himself, and changed into a soft nightgown. His fingers trembled as he wiped the fogged mirror, and there it was. The faded dragon tattoo across his chest, glowing faintly in the dim light. A large dragon, drawn across his chest, curved like it was shielding something precious, and in the middle, a smaller dragon nested inside the curve of the larger one. The glow shimmered golden, like it still lived, like it still believed in the bond. Jin just stared at it. What punishment is this? He whispered, voice shaking. Why can't I even feed my own son? What did I do wrong? He placed a hand over the smaller dragon. What mistake is my baby paying for? The glow pulsed faintly,
He turned away, swallowing the pain, and stepped back into the room. He paused when he saw Jope sitting beside Junie, holding him close. 2 pillows were placed carefully on either side of Junie, keeping him safe. Jin's heart softened. He stood slowly, eyes filled with concern. "Hyung, are you okay?" Jin gave a small nod. "You shouldn't have done that," he said with his voice low. "Don't you remember what the royal medic said? Breastfeeding Junie may take your life. The last time, you nearly fell into a coma." Jin looked away. He stepped closer. "It's dangerous, Hyung. For both of you." Jin said nothing. His eyes stayed on Junie, watching his little boy sleep so peacefully, lips still parted slightly, arms curled under his chin. "He thought he was a bad boy," he finally whispered. "He thought I don't love him enough," he sighed. "You don't have to hurt yourself to prove your love to him. He knows how much you love him." He sighed again. "We're getting late, Hyung," he said gently, changing the subject. "The headmistress will be here at any moment." Jin nodded, and Hoseok left quietly, while Jin sat beside his son again. He caressed Junie's soft cheek with the back of his hand, his fingers brushing over his warm skin. "I'm sorry, my baby," he whispered. "Forgive Mama for not being able to give you what you need." His eyes scanned his baby's face, and just for a second, he saw the face that gave him so much pain, and his most beloved jewel. He quickly looked away, not wanting to remember that face. But how can he not? That face is his whole world, the cause of his endless pain, and in return gave him his precious jewel, his son, who is now his everything, his sole reason to live. But that face only reminded him of pain, of longing, of something forever out of reach. He wiped a stray tear from his eye and leaned down to press a kiss to his son's forehead. "I'll always protect you," he whispered, "even if it costs me everything." He adjusted the blanket once again and got up, quickly marching toward the shared dorm. The room was dark, silent, cold. Yoongi sat alone in the corner, a glass of untouched wine held loosely between his fingers. His eyes were closed, but not in sleep, more like surrender. The chill from the open balcony touched his face, soft like a ghost's hand, but he didn't flinch. The cold belonged to him now. It lived inside him. Around him, the room was a mess. The heavy velvet curtains half torn, broken glass glinting like stars across the floor, the bed undone, the desk split slightly at the edge. The air was thick with a sweet, heavy, and something impossible to ignore. The scent wrapped Yoongi around like silk, calming his racing heart, stilling the war inside his mind. That scent, it wasn't just any Omega's scent, it was his, and to Yoongi, it felt like breathing for the first time after drowning. The scent filled his lungs, filled his soul. Just then, with a bang, the door burst open. 2 young males stepped inside with loud footsteps and louder worry. "Hyung, do you even know what's going on campus?" His voice echoed in the chaos. "Someone brought an Omega onto the Alpha grounds. Can you believe?" He stopped, mid-word, mid-breath. Their eyes widened as the scent hit them full force. Even as royal alphas, unaffected by most Omegas, the intensity of this scent made their heads spin. It was too strong. Too sudden. Their bodies didn't react with lust, but their minds reeled from how overwhelming it was. They exchanged glances, hearts thudding. Just then, Jungkook and Namjoon entered behind them. Namjoon's brows furrowed the moment he stepped in, the scent thick against his throat like smoke. Jungkook rubbed the back of his neck, uneasy. "What the hell is that?" he muttered. He looked around, then spotted the still figure in the dark. "Hyung, did you bring someone here?" he added, stepping forward, his tone sharp with suspicion. Yoongi didn't answer. He just stood, and slowly, like something ancient awakening, he walked toward the light, toward the soft silver wash of the moon bleeding through the open balcony. The moonlight caught his bare body, and they all went still. The glass in Yoongi's hand slipped and shattered at his feet, but no one reacted.
Their eyes were locked on him, on the thing they could not believe, on his bare chest, smooth and pale, lit by silver glow, and the mark that had bloomed across his skin. The room fell into silence as the four brothers stared. Etched across Yoongi's body, from his left arm trailing up his shoulder and curling around his neck, was a dragon. A tattoo, like no other, faded in some places as though someone had tried to wash it away, erase it, destroy it, but the ink clung to him stubbornly, glowing faintly in a soft, eerie purple. The head of the dragon rested just under his jaw, its eyes inked in a shimmer that flickered under the moonlight like it was alive. Yoongi's hand lifted, his fingers slowly brushing over the dragon's curved spine across his neck. The moment he touched it, the glow deepened, pulsing once, like it recognized him. His eyes lifted to the mirror across the room, and for a moment, he just stared at his own reflection, at the ghost of the bond no one was supposed to see. Namjin took a step forward. "Hyung, are you mated?" His voice cracked through the silence. Yoongi didn't answer, but the stillness in his gaze was too loud. Jungkook's breath caught. Yeonjun looked stunned. Jackson shook his head slowly, not in disbelief, but in a kind of reverent fear, while Namjoon's eyes locked on the tattoo, the color, the glow, the intensity of the scent. He took another step forward, mouth dry. He slowly reached up and touched his own chest, like something rested beneath his shirt, as if something is hiding under that piece of cloth, and he can't let it out. A whisper left his mouth. "Your mate is a moonborn Omega." The temperature dropped instantly, as if the room had inhaled sharply. Yoongi's eyes didn't move from the mirror. His hand still rested against the fading dragon ink. That mark was a symbol of pride, the pride all alphas around the globe kill for. Yet he got it without any war, blood, sacrifices. A moonborn Omega is not merely born, they are chosen. Born beneath a silver eclipse, their soul is bound to the rhythm of the moon. Rare, untouchable, feared and worshipped in old lore. They carry scents so powerful they could drive alphas insane, or calm their very blood, and one of them is now with Yoongi. The realization wrapped the room in silence. It changed everything. Stepped forward, his voice barely a breath. "Is it true?" "Yes." He turned away from the mirror and looked at three figures in front of him.